Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Abbott, and you have now entered into the, hangout with us tonight. We got the brother Pit Boss here. I'm gonna let him give you the title, the reason he's doing it, and then we're gonna get into it. And I'm gonna ask him some questions. But this pretty much his thing. He wanted to do it, and I don't turn people away that often. So I'm gonna let him explain to you what we're doing here tonight.
What up with you, Carl? Carl Albert and Israel Doctrine. Okay, so how did we get to this point, right? Basically, I know a lot of people might feel like...
Can we get the title first?
Oh, you want to get the title? No sweat, we get the title.
And then we can go into why we here.
Okay. This is Dr. Maat and the Alice Bailey Connection. And we're going to do a comprehensive excogitation, and that's just a deep inside breakdown of how I'm connecting Dr. Maat with Alice Bailey. We're going to get in a little bit to who Alice Bailey is, what she established, and how that's being extended by Dr. Maat and some cohorts of hers that we all know. So, is that a good opening for you, Carl? Are you there with me?
I feel you. So could you tell us a little bit about who Alice Bailey is? For those that don't know.
Okay, Carl. So what I'm gonna do is I got a pretty good little breakdown kind of laid out on my computer. So I just want to kind of share my screen with you so that some of your guests could follow along with a little bit of this as I kind of break it down for you. So I'm just doing a visual as I break that down. That's cool?
That's cool. Share on, brother.
Let's get it. Just let me know if a screen share is coming through.
Oh, yeah, you're sharing me right now. That's an ugly picture.
No sweat. You can see all these screens here, right?
Okay, yeah, that's a better looking pic.
All right. I got a lot of screens open, so you just bear with me, and I'm gonna jump on the particular one, and one quick second. We're gonna be getting into every one of these screens that I'm popping open, but in order to lay this out for you, I really had to open up a lot of stuff. So let me just get Alice Bailey pulled up real quick. All right. So this is a page that many can find on their Facebook page or just anywhere online. It's Alice Bailey and the 10-Point Plan, right? So Alice Bailey was a part of an occultist group, and she died around 1949. And in 1950, they published one of her books, which was entitled Alice Bailey and the 10-Point Plan. Now, in this 10-point plan, she had various things that she was trying to bring out and that she wanted to go over. So I'm going to quickly get into the 10 points. I'm just going to kind of give you the titles, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to specify a few in particular. So within the 10-point plan, we got point 1, take God and prayer out of the education system. Point 2, reduce parental authority over the children. Let's see. Point 3, destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure and the traditional Christian family structures, and why. Point 4, if sex is free, then make abortion legal and make it easy. Point 5, make divorce easy and legal, free people from the concept of marriage for life. Point 6, make homosexuality an alternative lifestyle. Point 7, debase art, make it run mad. Point 8, use the media to promote this change of mindset. And point 9, create an interfaith movement. And point 10, get the government to make all these laws and get the church to endorse these changes. All right. Now, within these 10 points, there are many, many things and many factors that are going on in the community. But because Dr. Mayat in specific is the topic tonight. Now, why did I pick Dr. Mayat? Why am I cluing in on her? Right? Well, first off, Carl, I already have a relationship with Dr. Mayat, which in a little while I'm going to play a little clip from when I went on to the Amin Ra radio show and had an interaction with Mayat a few months ago, just to let people know that I have personal interactions with her in specific. And we specifically start to talk about these points in which I'm talking about now. Now, just recently, she visited Sarnetta TV and sat on Sarnetta's couch. And we all know Sarnetta love that comedic energy. He loves to put that forward. He loves Bible bashing. And ain't nothing wrong with that if that's your thing. But if it's not your thing, you got to have your shields up, because those that is protecting this word is going to come out blasting. And I'm doing this thing tonight. So in specific with Dr. Mayat, I was on her page in the Amin Ra squad, pretty much having an interaction with her about her video. And I guess she took a little offense to my words and thought I was being a little harsh, where in reality, I just felt like, yo, we're in a scholarship state of mind. If I bring out some work, Carl, you have a disagreement with some work I brought forward, then it should be fair that you are able to contest my information without having a personal disregard for me. Just as tonight, Carl, you somewhere in this little debacle here, you may say, wait a minute, Pit Boss, you kind of throwing out some fake information, right? And then maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if you see it and I have to explain it, then I may say, well, you see this, Carl, based on blah, blah, blah. And you say, hey, okay, I got it. Keep going, right? And that's pretty much how information is brought forth to the community. But you can't just put something out there and then get so offended that you want to try to block people and kick them out the group just because they're respectfully objecting to your information. So with that said, Carl, I want to get into this first point on Alice Bailey. This is in 19.
So.
All right. So in the first point, Carl, you can see that pretty good, right? I'm gonna enlarge that. Can you see that pretty well?
Yeah, I see it pretty good. I see it even better now when the audience is telling me they hear you loud and clear. So I'm gonna mute my mic. I get a little noise from the train. So
okay, that's what's happening. So we're gonna get into this first point. And in this first point, it's about taking God and prayer out of the education system. Now, in 1950, do you think that Alice Bailey was worried about taking prayer or something in regards to black folks? I doubt that, because in 1950, we hadn't even had Brown versus Board of Education was still being deliberated, and black folks and their Christianity had no regards to Alice Bailey. So she was pretty much focused on white folks and taking Christianity out of the system where white folks was concerned. This is what was holding her occultist satanic organization back from ruling things. Now, just to give you an example of what the white folk Christianity was doing in America in 1950. In 1950, there was a show called I Love Lucy. If you remember Ricky Ricardo and I Love Lucy. Now, because of the way things were at that time, the Judeo-Christian system had a hold on Hollywood, and and I Love Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, they wasn't allowed to sleep in the same bed. So if you go back and you look at them black and white shows, you'll notice that whenever they had to go to the bedroom, they slept in twin beds. These are grown folks, at least in their 40s, sleeping in twin beds. This was all due to the moral code at the time that the system had in play. As well as that, if they was to kiss or do anything such as that nature, then also that wasn't allowed on camera. You couldn't curse. You couldn't put on provocative types of images. There was no twerking on television. There was very few curse words, that if any, that you could use at that time. So this is just pointing out the effects that things were, the way things were in 1950. So Alice Bailey set out to change that. And so by writing this 10-point plan, she was prepared to take down the system. Now, getting in depth to this particular plan, I'm going to read this particular paragraph, and I'm sure you guys already kind of reading along as I kind of blew it up for you. But it says, change the curriculum to ensure that children are freed from the bondage of Christian culture. Why? Because children go to school to be equipped to face life. They are willing to trust, and they are willing to value what is being given to them. If you take God out of education, they will unconsciously, from a resolve that God is not necessary to face life, they will focus on those things the school counts them worthy to be passed on, and they will look at God as an additional, if one can afford the additional. Today, they introduce transcendental meditation, or TM, in schools, which take children to altered states of consciousness to meet with demons or spirit guides, and that equals a new age. So what she wanted to do, and we've just read here, is by pulling the God out of the system, out of the education system, that would make the children start to believe that, hey, God isn't necessary. I can survive without God, right? So we're going to go down to the first system, and we're going to go to point C. And we're going to see who do they want to use to implement this as their agents. And as you see here, teachers are the agents of the implementation. From the workshop, teachers tell children, your parent has no right to force you to pray or read the Bible. You are yourself, have the right of your own. You need to discover yourself. Self-expression, self-realization, self-fulfillment are all buzzwords. And this is the way that they would bring this information into the community, being that the children are all focused on and viewed by all of the teachers. So they would implement this to the teachers, and then the teachers would then implement this to the children. So now that I kind of laid that simple breakdown, and we're going to come back to Alice Bailey and get into some more of these points in a little while. But I want to take you to one of those teachers in 2016. So here we go. One moment. And I got a lot of stuff going on. Let's get it. So here's the video of Dr. Maat, a little earlier, rolling down on Sonetta TV. And we're gonna listen to this for a little minute and see what Dr. Maat got to say.
It's too much regurgitation, and we're actually building, because a lot of people wanted to know, well, Dr. Maat, what are you doing with your PhD? Are you working for the community? What I did with my doctorate was I decided to, hold on, let me get this, Brother Si. What I did with my doctorate, I decided to link up with my family and start a company called Ed Anime Productions. Ed Anime stands for Educational Animation, and we create educational tools for children in the areas of history, mathematics, and science. Our first series is called Meltrek. It's available at edanimeproductions.com, or you can just Google Meltrek, and I'm sure the website will come up, or you can Google it on YouTube. But Meltrek is a series. Now, Mel is short for melanin. Trek means journey. So we're taking you on a journey to understand the history and culture of a melanated people. So it's a series that's dedicated to teaching African-American children knowledge of self. And there's going to be 8 episodes. Oh, I'm sorry. There are going to be 8 episodes. And this is the first episode. Is available again at edanimeproductions.com. And
okay, I'm going to stop that right there. And just to give Black News 102 a little bit of publicity, since we're using a video, You know, you definitely could go and watch this whole 2-hour presentation at Black News 102 on YouTube, and definitely subscribe and join in all the education of self that you can get. But if you notice, she launched out one of the what they call buzzwords, as you would see in the breakdown that we have for Alice Bailey, that there are certain types of buzzwords at that time in 1950 that Alice Bailey was teaching. Now we hear those buzzwords in a person. Now, she goes by the name of Dr. Maat. She also goes by the reference of Oya Maat. Now, Oya, that comes from the Orisha culture, and we're going to get to it. So breaking down her name so you can understand her position and what she really representing in herself. So we're going to get to Oya. And Oya is the goddess. And I found this here, y'all. You know, you can check this out on sacredtext.com. And, you know, I'm just letting you know where I find these things so y'all can vet the sources if you like. There's plenty of books and various things on here, but this is just giving a simple breakdown on the god Oya, as well as the other gods involved in that system. This is not an attack on any system or belief that anyone has. This is just a simple breakdown into understanding what Dr. Maat is bringing forth to us. So here you got Oya is the god of the Niger, which is also called Odu Oya, the river of Oya. She is a chief wife of the thunder god, Shango. And as has already been said, her message is Afifi, the wind, at Lokoro, near Porto Nova. There is said to be a temple of Oya containing the image of the goddess with 8 heads surrounding a central head. This is supposed to be the symbolic of the numerous outfalls of the Niger through its delta, Oya, and the 2 following sprang from Yamanja. Okay, so basically this particular goddess is a goddess of this river, and the nature of this river and the various outfalls or waterfalls or openings that this river would lead into. So whenever you have a god who is related to nature, which you'll see her talk about science is the various things of studying nature and the physical, this was described and labeled as what we call animism. So I bring up animism. You can find that in Wikipedia simply. And animism is a worldview of a non-human entity such as animals, plants, and inanimate objects possessing a spiritual essence. So this is what we have. We have a tradition where a group of people have made various things to possess a spirit. In this case, that spirit is Oya, and Oya being derived or given to the spirit of this particular river, because this type of teaching comes out of Niger or Nigeria, in the Nigeria area near the Niger River. This is an ancient old type of system. Now, what you should take note is that these types of systems, they're slow in development. They're definitely slow in development as far as high mathematics. Now, in this particular video that we're watching, she gets into various things of technology, a Shango bone that was found within this area and various things, but she's claiming that this bone comes from like 20,000 years ago. And like I said, you know, you can definitely go to that channel and check out all of that, right? Now, so I can break in and show you a little bit about how Maat and I got together and had a few conversations. I'm taking you now to this Blog Talk Radio. This is the Uncle Cat and the Amon Ra Squad on Blog Talk Television. You know, you definitely can go there as well and subscribe and join in. to all the wonderful festivities of the Black atheist and his cohorts. And it's all good. These are people that I definitely know and definitely talk to. So this is not an attack. This is just simply breaking down the facts. And who can hate the facts? So we're going to get into a little bit of this radio show. So what you're going to see here is myself and a partner of mine named Sharp Spear. Shout out to Sharp Spear. This is just a little preview of how this all began. This particular show, if you can see here, it took place about 2 months ago. So here we go.
You know what? We ain't gonna give him the time of day right now, man. Because I heard these brothers come on. They type the Bible, and I'm putting my money on them to smack up any Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? They just arms ain't long enough to deal with it. The long scholarship right here. But let's bring on Pit Boss, right? And Sharp Spear, all right? And see what they got. So, welcome to the show, Pit Boss, and your brother Sharp Spear, man. What's good? What's happening?
Favor. We got the Army Rob Spot up, arrows up, coming to give y'all brothers a little bit of our knowledge, you know, add to your flow. Because we not mad at you, you know. We gonna, you know, bust up some of what y'all been talking about a little bit, you know. How you doing, Dr. Maat?
How you doing, brother?
Goldies, yeah, the whole crew over here, man. We gonna give y'all a little bit of this tonight. So as I see, y'all kind of brought in a little bit of, I guess you want to touch up on this video that's kind of running online about this Bible that some guy like found, and as well as Dr. Maat, you call these people revisionists, even though they have degrees in Latin, and Greek, and Hebrew at deep scholar levels, and you just give them the title of revision?
Yeah, I would give them the title of revision. Yeah, I certainly would. I certainly would.
Oh.
I certainly would.
So
Because you know what? And let me tell you why I say that. You cannot provide me with a primary resource right now that tells me the list of resources they use to compile the King James Version of the Bible. There's nothing out there. You can't tell me one. You can't give me one primary resource that says, "Hey, sis, these are the resources that they use to produce the Bible." The primary resource that I can show you regarding the translation of the Bible is in the British Museum under manuscript 750, MS 750, that tells you exactly what they used, and they were ordered by King James to stay close to the Geneva and the Bishop's Bible of 1568. Other than that, renowned scholars will tell you, renowned scholars such as David Norton, who's over in Cambridge. Actually, I emailed him the other day. He and I go back and forth all the time. He said they don't have any sources proving that they use anything other than the Geneva Bible and the Bishop's Bible of 1568. Everything else is speculative.
Okay, now check this out. She's referencing a particular Bible called the Geneva Bible. So we definitely got that pulled up for you. Now, the Geneva Bible, let's break this Bible down a little bit. The Geneva Bible is one of the most historically significant translations of the Bible into English. So right there, this particular Bible is already an English translated Bible. And she's making the claim that King James was forced to stay within the confines of the breakdown of this Geneva Bible. Now, if you understand anything about the 1611, you'll definitely know that this was a 7-year process of translating various manuscripts and various Bibles, and any Bible or any source that they needed to go to in order to create what we call today the King James 11, or the King James Version of the Bible. So let's just read a little bit about this. This is the Geneva Bible is one of the most historically significant translations of the Bible into English, preceding the King James translation by 51 years. It was a primary Bible of the 16th century Protestantism, and was the Bible used by William Shakespeare. right? Okay. Now, a lot of people like to say, hey, you know, William Shakespeare had to do something with the King James, understanding that Shakespeare could not read Hebrew or Latin. It made it a little bit different. So, you know, for William Shakespeare, this was his Bible of choice, something written in English in a language that he could understand and comprehend. You know, here's a little picture of it just so y'all can kind of see a little what it looks like. So, you know, did they have this in their possession? They definitely did. But they also had all the translations that were available, that's even available for us today. They had access to those same translations, and they would use these to create the 1611, which would go on to be one of the better Bibles, more popular Bibles, and today is the most popular Bible that's being used. All right. Now, just to get into a little breakdown. So before I go on any further to what she would like talk about, she's trying to make the also that she makes the claim that Christianity isn't African in origin when you go and watch the 2-hour spiel that she does on Sinetta. So just to bring in a little more credibility, right? You can pull up the list of Coptic Orthodox popes of Alexandria. This is going to take you into 43 AD. And we're going to start off with Mark the Apostle and Evangelist, who established the church, the Coptic Church of Alexandria. Coptic is a word that refers to the ethnic Egyptians who live in this particular region. Because being in that first century, Alexandria, Egypt would have been similar to like how New York is today. It would have had various people there, the Greeks, the Romans, you had people from various parts of Africa, from Ethiopia. You had so many people in this place that the Coptics, to identify them, and this goes out to my man, Captain Tazariak, who tried to tell me that the Jews was trying to represent themselves as Coptics. In particular, the Coptics are the ethnic people. The same way how we identify ourselves in America as African Americans, just to make sure we are distinguished among the other people in America. By labeling ourselves just Americans, we would be blended in with all kind of people, and people wouldn't know we were here. So by identifying us in specific, in the future, you will know that them African Americans, they were black. And in this same way, Coptics are referring to the ethnic people of Alexandria in the first century, and even before that, from the time that the Greeks came in. So just to go down a little bit of the list, just to show you here, this is the Pope system. This is long before the Nicene Conference in 325. So don't even come at me with that. This is the first 3 centuries. And we're going to get into various patriarchs in the beginning, right? So after them, you have Ananus, you have Avelus, you have Sardo, you have Primus, Justus, Uminius, Mark Antinos, Chaldeon. Now, when you go here, you can click on any one of these people and get their backdrop and find out who they were. You get over here in these notes here, and let me blow that up for you so you can see a little bit. Let's move down to one of my favorites. This is we're gonna move you right on into right before the white folks really come in the game. We're gonna go to the first pope, where they start to create this pope system. This is still prior to the Roman Catholics setting up their pope system. They're not in the game yet. This is only 300 AD. And we haven't even had the Nicene Council, and you already have a Coptic, an Egyptian pope. So you got to understand what the Amin Raswan and what Dr. Maat wants to do is they want to talk about all kind of places in Africa, in the AD period. They want to skip over this part. They also want to go back and talk about ancient Egypt. Okay, all these popes, especially these early popes, they would have definitely still been able to read hieroglyphs, speak it, write it. They still understood all the traditions that they have been following for thousands of years. Along comes this apostle Mark, gives them the gospel. They find it to be true. They abandon their gods. What you got left? All of a sudden, animism becomes an extinct thing in Egypt. There's no longer any big popularity. It tries to hang in there. They got the cult of the cats. I'll pull that up for you in a little while. Matter of fact, let's get that. The cult of the cats. So I can show you how this type of stuff, Diamond Rock Squad and Dr. Maat, they don't want to bring this out. They're not too happy about this type of thing. So, you know, I'm going to give you that. But I'm going to give it to you because I ain't got no problem telling the truth. If I find somewhere that Christians was bunko or flip-flopping, I'm going to tell you about it. And I ain't got no problem telling you about it. But here we go, people. This is the cats in ancient Egypt, right? Cats, known as the ancient Egyptians, the Mao, were considered sacred in an ancient Egyptian society, and based on the recent DNA, a comparison of living species, blah, 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 right? So let's say cats in everyday life. Cats in Egyptian religion. The earliest evidence of the feline as deities come around 3100 BC. The crystal cup decorated with the image of a lion-headed goddess, Mefdet. The goddess Beset was originally depicted as a fiercely protective, warlike lioness like Sekhmet. But Bestet's image softened over time and she became more strongly associated with the domestic cat. The cats were sacred to Best and practice as mummification was an extended to them. So they loved the cat so much that they got the special mummification burial. And they're found all in the tombs with the kings of Egypt or Kemet, right? So this is just a little something to show you how these customs, you know, they kind of was around, and then all of a sudden they just died out, and all of a sudden Christianity kicks in the gear, and all of a sudden we got a pope system and we ain't got the cult of the cats no more, right? Now you got to remember that during this time, just to be repping Christianity meant that you could be killed by the Romans because they wasn't repping Christianity, and they felt it as, you know, as a threat to the system, being that the Christians would not bow down to any Caesar. That in itself was a violation, and later on, Christians would get their head cut off by Nero, right? So this is the Nubian Christians, the neglected heritage. This book is put out by a man named Paul Bauer, African Journals of Evangelical Theology in 1985, folks. I'm just read this little purple highlighted spot for you. Indeed, it is vital to African Christian self-understanding to recognize that the Christians present in Africa is almost as old as Christianity itself, that Christianity has been an integral feature of the continent life for nearly 2,000 years. John Mbiti was emphasizing just this in his bold statement. Christianity, hold on one second for me. I'm sorry about that. I'm back at you. So it says, in search of self-identity, which lies so near to the heart of modern African Christian intellect quest in the long history of Christianity in Africa, it is the fact needing urgently to be recognized, embraced, and appropriated. The careful student of African Christian history is well aware of Christianity in North Africa, once so vibrant and productive, was in due course wiped out by the Arab Islamic conquest beginning in the 7th century. So here we understand that the first 7 centuries, Christianity in North Africa is strong and vibrant, and this is an African Christianity. This is not the white folks over here we talk about, right? So we move on a little bit. The Christians began in Ethiopia in the 4th century and planted as early as Christianity that Christianity began in Ethiopia in the 4th century. planted as early as Pentecost, has also survived into the present. In the Coptic Christian community, is not perhaps as common an awareness as it should be, but that there was another important branch of early African Christianity, a fourth member, and it is not part of the general Christian awareness on the continent, that there was a powerful branch of Christendom in what is now the northern Sudan, a Christianity that lasted for me then 1,000 years, and is still now a fact familiar only to those in Africa who study their church history and sources with special care. Now, what you got to understand is that with Dr. Maat, when she's in that video, she's talking about a PhD. And what a PhD is, it's a research degree. It lets you know that you have reached a level of research that you are the best they can do for you. After this, you should be able to write a book and some other things. In this way, being that Dr. Maat keeps telling us she's this type of doctor, and so that she has the ability to do research, right? So these things should be real easy to find. All this stuff I'm finding is online, people. This isn't a difficult Google to find. You could vet the sources. You could find out if this is makeup. This happened in 1985. I wonder what kind of degree she had. Oh, she probably would have been in junior high school or something, maybe elementary school when this was put out. So, you know, maybe she could go back and vet Paul Bauer, who put this particular piece out. But nevertheless, this is what's going on. You got a group of people, and I don't even want to get in there. Let me stop for a second and just show you. This is another little program. This is called the Logos program. This program in itself is like a $600 program. You can go to logos.com and check out the different packages that they have for breakdowns. This thing, I can go through this thing. I probably got 1,000 books up in here. I'm in Raw Squad, your damn show don't got this program. If you do, show it to me while you're buying all them books. I know you're going to get it now that you see what Pitboss working with over here, but it's all good. This is just a little something about Nero, though. You know, I was going to put that on y'all, but, you know, I ain't even going to go there. It's not really necessary. But we're going to move right along, and we're going to get into, let's see what we got left. Let's let her flow a little more. I want y'all to kind of hear where she's going with her breakdown.
What we're trying to do, Brother Sai, is to give our children knowledge of self and that self-confidence that they lack. Because if your child is matriculating through a public school system right now, what they're given is a Eurocentric based education. And what Eurocentric based education does is it subconsciously develops an inferiority complex in African American children. So they're sitting in the classroom and they're learning about Christopher Columbus, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, the American Revolution, the Boston Tea Party. And then when it comes to African American history, they're taught distorted facts or distorted information.
Okay, now what I want to know about these distorted facts, do you think that anywhere in them DVDs, she got 8 series coming out? Do you think she gonna talk about any type of Christianity in Africa prior to slavery? I don't think so. What she gonna get into, y'all, is she gonna get to digging into a whole lot of Egypt. She gonna start in Egypt. That's all and wonderful. Let's not knock Egypt for all the many contributions. And then she just gonna politely skip over the first 2 centuries of Egypt once she get in AD, and she gonna try to land somewhere on the west coast of Africa. Now, I ain't seen none of these DVDs, but I'm going to prophesy that that's what they're about. Now, if they're not about that, we will see. But I definitely know she's not going to talk too much about the Coptics. She's not going to talk about the Nubian Christianity. She's not going to talk about Ethiopian Christianity. She ain't going to talk about the Portuguese going to the Kingdom of the Congo in 1450 and get into that Christianity. She ain't going to talk about Timbuktu. And when she do, now I'm going to take this back. She going to talk about Timbuktu. But she ain't going to give no credit to Christianity or the influence of Islam. See, when you talk about Islam, you're still talking about the Bible. Islam still believes in Abraham and Moses and Jesus. They go by a few different names, but we know who they're working with. And anywhere you find Islam, you find high development. In the AD period, anywhere you find Christianity, you find high development. Anywhere you find Vadum, you don't find a school system. Anywhere you find Ifa, you don't find an elaborated school system. Now, I don't mean to say that those people don't have knowledge. They have a knowledge of way of working their custom of life, and it works for them. They apply their knowledge to nature. This doesn't allow you to go into a high level of mathematics. It's not necessary when you live in a simplistic way that they do. But if you want to move into the technological future and you want to teach the kids the STEM program, well, we're in America, and the first person to teach the STEM program in America, that was Booker T. Washington. Now, she goes on further to talk about Christianity, you know, what Carl calling Pop Go the Weasel, Mr. Sinetta, you know, he want to know how she feels about the Bible. So she goes on this elaborate track about how fake the Bible is. But if she's a doctor with a research degree, how is it that you skip over 2,000 years of Christianity in Africa and try to play this out like it's just a book? Like it's just a comic book, a made-up story. How does a made-up story stand its ground for 2,000 years? Let's get into Shushnu. Shushnu lived in, I just want y'all to peep this out real quick. Wait, let me not even go here. Let me go. Shushnu the Great, man. This guy right here, that's not even where I want to go. We're just going to kick it with Wikipedia. Keep it simple, right? Now, Shushnu was born in 348 AD in Upper Egypt, a village called the Shishnolioto, to the devout Christian parents. His uncle was Saint Pyglo, another famous Egyptian. So this man got Egyptian parents. He's born in 348. They just had the Nicene Council. Rome is still in existence. Rome has not fallen. The Byzantine Empire has not kicked in. The Roman Catholic system is not created. And Shushnu's a Christian. And his parents are Egyptians. Now I ask you the question. Would Egyptians in 348 AD have a better understanding of Egypt, living in Upper Egypt, or would Dr. Maat be the go-to? Which one is the go-to? Which one should I roll with? Should I roll with Dr. Maat and her people